Before the final reconstruction in Reality Capture, it's worth doing a brief one or a draft one, but how to do it in a blazing fast manner, maybe even on set. The key for the quick preview is being able to A. control the resolution and B. doing it, well, quickly. In other words, we need some kind of batch resizing application. I often use the batch convert operation of the XNView free application, free image viewer, to batch resize the images, all images at once. So first I'm gonna remove all images from the input tab, then navigate to the folder with all the photos that we have taken, and I'm gonna drag and drop these photos folder by the folder into the app. So far we have 162 photos. Let's do the second one. 242. Now goes the third one. And now we're ready to drag and drop the wall photos there too. And you can see that the number of photos grows up constantly, like it should. And you can debug it by checking the number against the number of the files in the folders. And once we load everything up, we can add the action in the Actions tab. We can add the resize action, which I have here. Just don't forget to enable it. I use the longest side mode as it's the most fail-proof, because some of the images may be vertical and it makes sure that they are resized correctly. To make the preview process really fast and cheap for that matter, because it costs some money in Reality Capture still, we can crunch everything to just 1K pixels wide or 2K pixels depending on your computer and your patience. So I choose 1K as the output resolution, and then I'm defining the folder in which I want to dump these preview photos. I added the preview in the name so I can recognize it later on. For the format we can choose whatever we want. It isn't for the quality in this case, so JPEG is fine to save up some space. And here goes the resizing process in XNView, which you can download for free. And once the batch conversion process is finished, we can load everything into Reality Capture and run a quick preview reconstruction. So let me drag and drop everything into the Reality Capture UI. Make sure that we have all the images loaded. And let's have a look just in case whether the resolution is correct, which it is, 1K pixels wide. Down in the alignment tab, I will open up the alignment settings and set the downscale factor to 1, because we have already downscaled everything. And as we remember, in RC, the higher the number, the more the images are downscaled. So the value of 1 meaning no downscaling. It shouldn't take long to align all the images in such resolution, even though we have a sizable number of images. So here we have our reconstruction, and just make sure to select the correct component, because there are some stray components that weren't recognized as a part of this main mesh. So I find it pretty interesting that actually almost all of our cameras have been aligned. That is a miracle on its own. Now we can start analyzing the point cloud, the sparse point cloud to be exact. We can totally see, even at this stage and using the preview content, that the roof is almost missing in terms of the tie points. And to be able to see it even more clearly, we can run the mesh reconstruction. For the normal model, I will set the image downscale to 2, meaning the resolution divided by a factor of 2. A half of the resolution, in other words, resulting in much less polygons in the final mesh. A pretty gross resolution taking into consideration our initial downscale. Now I'm clicking on the preview reconstruction. The preview in Reality Capture means that it will use the sparse point cloud instead of building the dense one. On the bright side, it takes just a few seconds to calculate, although it looks a bit lumpy, obviously. The color can be also calculated in the preview mode, meaning the vertex colors of this sparse cloud being turned into mesh, something like that. But for the preview, actually I would go as far as pressing the normal detail button, because to begin with, our resolution is fairly manageable. It shouldn't take awfully long, Normal reconstruction uses the dense version of the cloud, but it took me just a few minutes to fully calculate it. I believe it was like 3 minutes, a totally manageable chunk of time if you ask me. I would even argue that we could have done it on set if we had a laptop there with us. It's not something unthinkable to be able to calculate the model in such quality right on set. Then, to have a better assessment of how the final model would look like, we can also calculate vertex colors. Well, it isn't always helpful to see colors when you're trying to gauge the quality of how you scanned this surface in the first place, because the color obfuscates the quality of the mesh. It gives you something else to look at. But on the other hand, it can be helpful as well, because you see the blurred areas right away, and these areas that are slightly blurred and low quality are exactly the areas that would require more work later on. Anyway, after doing a quick preview, I feel pretty optimistic and confident about our photo scan. I think we can start the actual production of the 3D assets based on the raw scan of this environment. Alright, to double down, we have just checked the integrity of the source footage that we're gonna use for reconstructing this environment, and in order to evaluate the preview as fast as possible, we have just batch resized all our photos that we got. We did it for the sake of preview, but now we will go back a step and actually process the raw sources in the next video.